Welcome to a Global Village TV show today. We are airing from Brooks, the city of 100 Hollows. We've been lucky to have the venue, JBS Center, and we are very thankful to the city of Brooks. We have here two great guests today, Sharon and Rodas. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, Sharon, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure, Ahmed. So a little bit of my background is that my parents were missionaries in Zambia, Africa, and that's where I was born. Mm-hmm. So I spent the first 5 years of my life there, and I actually was just sharing with someone last week about the first time I realized that I was white.
Yeah.
I was climbing a tree with some friends, and the kids started making fun of me and saying that I was white, and I said, no, I'm not. And I got into this little argument, and I actually started crying and ran back to my mom and said, Mom, the kids are telling me I'm white. And she kind of was a little baffled, like wasn't sure what to say to me, but she picked me up and took me to the bathroom. It was the only place we had a mirror in our little house, and that was the discussion of that. And yeah, so I have had a really interesting life story, really. My parents, we moved back to Canada when I was 6, and then I was in Ontario growing up for my growing up years while my parents did some mission work back and forth to Africa. And then I went to school in the US, and then I journeyed to India and worked with an organization there, a human rights organization, and we rescue people from bondage slavery. And it was during my time there that I decided to join the RCMP.
Wow.
The investigations team that I worked with really made a huge impact on me, and that led me to a policing career. But growing up in Ontario, we didn't see the RCMP very often. It was your local city police. But for me, I had this desire to travel and to see more of Canada. I'd only grown up in a small little part of Ontario, and I really wanted to see more and have the opportunity to move around. And my biggest driving force in joining the RCMP was to fight human trafficking in Canada. And so that's ultimately why I chose the RCMP over a municipal force.
Well, and you're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you.
So you came from the same small town like Josh?
For a little bit, about 3 hours from where Josh was, yeah. I grew up actually in London, Ontario, so a pretty big city.
Yeah.
City. Now I'm in small town Brooks, right? Yeah. But yeah, we're both from Ontario.
Yeah, Josh, yeah. Okay. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Rodas.
Sure. So I'm actually originally from Ethiopia. I moved to Canada after high school to pursue my post-secondary education. I've been in Brooks since 2020, but actually backtracking a little. So I've been in Canada about 14 years. I lived in 2 provinces and 5 cities so far.
Wow.
Yeah, and Ontario is where I started. So I went to school in actually Hamilton, Ontario, and then moved to Toronto, and then decided I wanted to try Alberta. And a couple of my girlfriends and I just, booked an apartment online and booked it to Fort McMurray. Wow. Yeah, and then lived there for about 5 years, moved to Calgary, and now Brooks is my home. I am married with a daughter and another one on the way. I love Brooks. Brooks is our home. I love our church community, and I volunteer, live, work, play in Brooks.
So you go to the same church, the one in Dutchess?
No, I go to the Well.
Oh.
In downtown.
Oh, okay, the Wells.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's across from, I think, the radio station.
Yeah.
Across the street. Yeah.
Radio station.
Yeah.
They used to have a huge community hall inside there.
Okay.
I don't know if they still have that. They used to have a same as the Legion, that area community.
Okay.
You can, yeah. So they used to have huge church.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe the basement.
Yeah.
Like,
maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not sure.
Oh no, I think welcome to Brooks. I think you're doing a great job and great additional to Brooks.
Thank you.
Yeah,
you.
and
Really
Ethiopia is
appreciate it.
one of the great nation in the continent in Africa. It's huge, a huge nation with a lot of different cultures and faith and all that. In Ethiopia, yeah. So you want to tell us a little bit about your job?
Yeah, sure. So I have been a police officer for 10 years. I started in general duty. And for those who are wondering what that is, it's when people call in 911. So we react and respond to those calls. And I did that for 5 years in BC. And then now I've moved to Brooks. The first 5 years I was a school resource officer here in town, which was a phenomenal change for me to get to be proactive and work with students and youth and educate them and teach them about the laws of Canada, also just about being good human beings and how to treat one another with their developing brains. And then just last year, I was doing 2 roles. So I was doing schools, but also running community policing, our unit, which we just started in 2021. And it just became too much. So thankfully, my bosses saw the need and seconded another member to help and do schools. And then I got to run community policing. So that's what I do now. It's all about forging relationships in our community and doing presentations of education, crime prevention, and connecting a lot with our newcomers. And I work now with JBS quite a bit and doing some prevention programming there and just teaching. Part of their orientation package actually is having a little sit down with me and usually a translator. And I just kind of walk through some of the basic laws of Canada, but also just the uniform, right? Lots of people are just scared of the uniform in general. So I just explain it to them and explain what they see on TV is a lot about America. It's not Canada. And that here that we have a high standard for sure. And I mean, they do in the States, just different. So I just try to really instill some trust and to let them know that if they're ever mistreated, they're welcome to come speak to my boss at any time down at the station and I will be held to account a lot higher than most of them. And then we just talk through the funny things about, you know, property and what sidewalks and like fencing. Not every properties have fences, and we talk about if they're in a car and you get pulled over, what does that look like? And please don't get out of the car, because in some cultures they do. They get out and they want to come talk to you, but to us that makes us really nervous. So yeah, we do some role playing and some education that way, and it's been fun. I really have. I've had a great team, and my bosses have really allowed us to just dream. Like, how can we connect to the community of Brooks, which is so unique in such a relatable way. So still very early stages, but that's where I'm at the moment.
No, I think it's fantastic, because you need to build the trust between communities and the police, especially when it comes to the newcomers and immigrants in general. There is that mistrust.
Absolutely.
As you said, it's because they watch TV. What happens in the South affects here. So there is always that issue. So I think there is always that opportunity to build that trust, and what you're doing is part of that, building that trust. So building that trust requires a continuous engagement of the newcomers. Not only the newcomers, also the local people, to build that trust, to see so they will have a confidence to call Sharon if there is something that they see. Public safety is everybody's responsibility.
That's right.
So if you see something, say something. So that is so I think building that trust is because sometimes most of the newcomers, some of them, not all, but have experienced it of a very bad situation from home countries, and the travel and the adventure they had. So so that empathy goes a long way. And we are true believers. We always say, just have the empathy, not sympathy. You need to have empathy. Sympathy, this poor person, then you bring somebody, their mind is as a victim. No one is so people, but empathy, yes, if you feel what they're going through or what you're going through in a situation, then you will have that empathy to the individual. So tell us a little bit about BCIS.
Sure. So BCIS is an immigrant or newcomer serving agency. Contrary to our name, we're not actually an immigrant or an immigration consulting firm, because our name is Brooks and County Immigration Services. So a lot of people assume we're immigration consultants. We're not. So we
I'm
kind
glad
of
you clarified that.
Yes. I always I always start off with that, because we have a lot of people that come in assuming, either they have to pay for our services or that we will, complete certain forms that we're not equipped to. And so I kind of start off with that, where we're an immigrant serving agency, we're a settlement agency. What that means is any newcomer that has decided to make Brooks and area their home, we help them in settling in. So that can look like anywhere from getting your first home with rental or buying, or looking at your schools for kids, or having your first family doctor. What does it look like to have Alberta healthcare? What does it look like to be employed in Canada for the first time? And so it's a wide range of things that we support newcomers with. So we have program streams that are either federal government funded or none, like so provincial and other funders. We are a project of CCIS, which is in Calgary. So with our federal government funding, we go from anywhere from refugees that are government assisted all the way to permanent residents, protected persons. And then when we look at non-federal government funded programs, we have refugee claimants, Canadian citizens, or anyone that walks in that we try to support. So that's kind of the brief overview of what we do at BCIS.
But you're not immigration.
We're not immigration consultants, but we support to the best of our abilities.
Yeah, we had a gentleman one time complaining. He says, you know what, I went to the Canadian immigration they have in Calgary. They don't even have in Medicine Hat Canadian immigration. I don't know about Lethbridge, but I know for sure, I think they have their center in Calgary, in this side. And he says he went to Canadian immigration, and they told him to, I think he wants to bring his wife or his, and they rejected him because of whatever technicality was. And he was told to look for either a lawyer or somebody. And he came and says, it's about time I'm going to BCIS. I said, well, good luck. You need a real lawyer. Whatever that technicality is, who will probably be able to help you. And because you need immigration lawyer.
Right.
Yeah, immigration lawyer will be able to know the fine print of what you have done wrong, or they will be able to advise you. But I said, you know what, Brooks is 5 minutes, so you can stop by.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, you can stop by. So tell us about the, when you were in school resource officer, the challenge and opportunities at school when it comes to students in general, specific to the newcomers.
Yeah, we definitely have one of the most multicultural, diverse school communities, I think, across Canada.
Yeah.
Yeah, like definitely you walk into the high school here or the junior high, you wouldn't know where you were if you didn't know. And I would say that when you have newcomers coming from all over, like we talked a little bit about refugee camps, I was really struck my first year I think it was during March, and they had to write things that they were lucky for, 3 things they were lucky for, and they posted it all across the board in the hallway, right? So you have things, you can tell like some kids who grew up in Canada are very much like, oh, I have a great house, I get to do a vacation, I have this. And then you have someone else who says, I'm just thankful for food on the table and to come to school, and that I no longer live in a refugee camp.
Wow.
And they just varied, and I was very emotional reading this board, because there's not a lot of places that you're going to have kids that have witnessed war firsthand, that have seen death of their family, that have been brutally assaulted in multiple ways. And now they're starting in a new country. Like, I can only imagine what is going on at home, let alone trying to just go to school. Like, school is so far down the list. And then sometimes if I end up in a conversation with some of these kids, if it's not in the hallway, it's in the principal's office, it's because they got in a fight. Well, what is the fight about? And when you get to the bottom roots for some of these kids, it's just simply, I had the wrong color shoes on, or I didn't have the right lunch, or whatever it was for them that day, or I don't have a bicycle, and I took one that didn't have a lock. And they just don't know what they don't know. And so for me, it's been an eye-opener of just that reminder. I'm sure I lived in Africa for a period of time, but I still lived a very privileged life, and I'm not immune to know that. I definitely think I have the empathy to see that not everybody lives like we do here in Canada. And I think it's really assisted me in my job, because I've been able to walk into a room, and depending on whatever the situation is, and just try to level with the kid that's in front of me. Like, tell me who you are, tell me where you come from, what's going on at home. And then we eventually get to like, why are we here? Why did a police officer get called to your school? And so that's really allowed me to, I think, do my job in an effective manner. Is it hard at times? Sure, yeah. There are big issues that these little bodies are dealing with. And during the pandemic, right? Our newcomers, I mean, they're trying to find services and they're trying to settle. They're trying to get food or whatever they need, shelter, homes, paying electricity bills. I mean, these are all things that the normal Canadian is struggling to, but also people who are just trying to get jobs and just start a new life. Yeah. And then they don't know where to go for help, right? So police officers here in Brooks, we've been called to many times where power has been shut off, and we're trying to explain to a single mom, okay, this is what you need to do, or show up and dad has abandoned the family and mom doesn't work, and now what does she do? So yeah, it's been an interesting time, but specifically at schools during the pandemic, the George Floyd stuff in the States was a really big thing. Yeah. And I remember a group of grade 12 students coming to me and saying, Sharon, we're gonna make a police brutality board at school. I said, oh, okay, let's talk about that. Like, what do you mean, right? So we sat in a room, myself and the principal and Joseph Octavius, who's one of their family culture liaison officer, and about 5 of these grade 12 guys and girls who wanted to do this this board. And I just asked them, like, share with me your experiences. Like, what does that mean to you? And they started talking about what they were watching on TV. And they said, like, this man was killed on national television. I said, I know, it's horrendous that any of us, that this even happened, right? But as we went through the whole thing, I asked them, like that is in the South, and I understand like that consumes a lot of our media and a lot of our attention, but what are you seeing here in Brooks? And like, what has your experience been with our police officers? And one by one, they told me different funny stories of getting pulled over with their friends, but in the end, all of them were like, we were the ones in the wrong. We were stunting, we were racing, we drove too fast, so we got speeding ticket. I said, have you ever been mistreated in a way that you felt like this incident? And they said, no, never, because you and Josh are here and the other members, like, we know you guys. And I said, well, that's great to know. And I would rather you like let's talk about policing here, right? And actually, so they came up, they said, well, what about we do a board about the differences of policing in Canada versus the US? Wow. I said, well, that sounds fantastic, because there are quite a few. Yeah. And we talked through them, and they were just as surprised to learn some of the things that even I had learned during George Floyd and all that had come through that. So yeah, it's been a really interesting and challenging at time, but also a rewarding experience. Yeah.
No, I think that's a fantastic. I think that gives you some more experience in terms of dealing with school side versus outside.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and that's additional value, I think, of being a community engaged unit. But Kendra is no longer there.
No, she's not. So she has moved up to headquarters in Edmonton. And we just hired a new girl named Kelly. But she's sick today. But Kelly is going to be our new Safe Communities facilitator. And so we'll carry on with our community engagement. And we hope to be in places that people don't expect to see the police and building connection with the community at large. So,
And the good thing of Kelly is she was from the city.
Yes. Yeah. That's one of the things that when we were doing the hiring process, Kelly is a Brooks girl. Yeah. And she's got a lot of roots here. She knows a lot of people. And she's also volunteered so much of her time. Okay. It's one of the big things for me when we were hiring that really stood out for me was someone who's willing to give up their time selflessly to help other people and to raise money and to, sometime you'll have to interview her. She's fantastic.
She is. What is the one thing that you love about your job, Rodas?
About my job, there's a lot, but one of the things I have to say when I'm wearing my employment hat or employment counselor hat is when I talk to one of my clients and we've done an educational credential assessment and they come back to me with excitement to say, my degree in Canada is now recognized and I can now go on to find something in my field. It gives me great pleasure. It feels like, oh my gosh, my children have grown up to, to get to a place where, you know, if they hadn't stuck the path and they hadn't gone through the educational assessment process, and sometimes it takes a long time depending on what profession they come from, and then to later see them in the community when I go into a meeting and I run into them in that meeting, that brings me great joy, and that's like, you know, some of the bigger highlights. And the others is when a client, you know, the first time I see them, they were highly depending on their interpreter, their son, daughter to communicate. And then next time I see them more confident and talking to me on their own. And then the third time, they're the ones greeting me with English. And so just seeing all of the progress, big or small, and all of the clients that we work with is so rewarding. It's something that honestly keeps me going. I think that's kind of what it is.
Wow, that's fantastic, because you admire the way that somebody has their credentials so they can do their job here. That is something that puts a smile on your face, because you help them to achieve that.
Yeah.
And I think that's what is the so. What motivates you on your job? What motivates you in the job?
That's a really good question. At the end of the day, really my faith is the biggest motivator.
Yeah.
And it's the reason I became a police officer, because I believe that I have that responsibility to fight for the impoverished, for the poor, and for the widow, for those, the forgotten. Policing is such a interesting career. There are lots of days, especially in the last 5 years, that I would say many of us have thought of packing it in and finding something else. It's a thankless job, but at the end of the day, I don't do it for any of that. It's because there's someone out there that needs me to use my voice in my position to help them in their time of need. And I believe that God has empowered me to do that.
Yep, and you did fantastic. I think we had that all-woman session last time, and you spoke very well, and I think you are very passionate, and I think it's the community appreciates for the public safety you guys provide.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, Rodas, what are the advantages of a diverse community such as the one we have in Brooks and County of New York in your own mind? What are the advantages of in terms of the economic development in the area?
For sure. So there's quite a few, actually. I've heard it said once that immigrants are natural risk takers because of, having to uproot their life and moving to a new place. That within itself takes a huge risk. And so if you're looking at immigrants, there's a lot of people that are, business minded, that are wanting to start a new business with a new idea, with, a new way of implementing something. That within itself helps. We have in Brooks, if you take, for example, we have lack in certain professions. So if you look at French-speaking lawyers, we don't have any. We have less vets than what is needed in the community. We need more healthcare professionals. And when I look at the list of clients that I have, or the people I work with, a lot of them have healthcare backgrounds. A lot of them come with new ideas and experiences from their home countries. And so it's an opportunity to fill in gaps in employment and job vacancies without looking further away. And it's a way to retain them. And if they're employed within our region, we retain them. By retaining them, we get them to actually live, work, and play here, and they invest their lives here. They spend their money here, and that gets the economy going. And then the newer ways of looking at things, right? So when you look at people coming from less fortunate opportunities, they're people that are used to being creative, right? They're people that are used to finding their way in places with less resources. And so that provides, I think, opportunity to find solutions for problems that we're all seeing, right? So I think there's, a wide range of benefits, not to mention like number of languages spoken in our community, like 100 hellos. We had the Taste of Nations not so long ago, and there was at least 91 cultures represented on the stage. We partnered with SPEC and looked through the list of clients that we've served in their countries of origin, and having 91 countries from such a small area. It's beautiful. And imagine your kids growing up, being exposed to so many cultures and languages. And I think there's so many opportunities, honestly.
Yeah, but no, that's fantastic. And you said, well, but the same token, I think we also need to encourage the newcomers to learn the culture we are in.
Oh, 100%.
Right?
Yes, 100%.
So then they won't be able to make mistakes.
Yeah.
If you don't know the culture that you are in, the chance of you making mistake is going to be huge.
True.
Very true.
You've been told don't date a kid who's younger than 18. If you do, here you have a problem.
Yeah.
If you don't know that, the court will tell you.
That's right.
Ignorance won't be an answer.
No.
So we have obligation also to learn the norms and all this from the society. 100%. So I think we just need to encourage the society. What would you just give? My final question is, a youth of today who is a very interesting. They are the leaders for tomorrow. Who once either graduated from the high school or maybe they graduated last year, but they want to have their career and they have ambition. They want to have to reach their potential. Life is not straight, so life is ups and downs. So what message will you share with those listening or watching the program today? What message will you have as someone with wisdom and experience in terms of the way they look through the lenses of life? What would you?
I would say definitely dream big and work hard. Have a plan. Recognize that plan can go a million ways. But as long as you're willing to work hard, you're resilient, and you're kind and respectful, you will go a long way in life. There are going to be hardships. There are going to be lots of roadblocks. Most of the battles are won in those dark moments. And what do you do to overcome? How do you deal with disappointment? Who do you turn to? And I would say that the people that you surround yourself with have the most impact on you. So who your friends are right now in high school do determine a bit of your future. Who you choose in the next life, in the sense of moving to college or where you're going to work, who you hang around with. There's a famous quote that says, the 5 people that you surround yourself with, you become. And so if you don't like where you are, find new people. And when I was in high school, I did a leadership class. And the one thing I remember was, you will be the same person you are today, 5 years from now, except for the books you read, the people you meet, and the places you'll go.
Wow.
And so those 3 things have been in my brain for ever since. But that's what I would say. Work hard and surround yourself with people that are going to encourage and uplift you, not drag you down.
And be patient.
Yeah.
That's a trick one.
Yeah, that's a hard one.
People don't usually have that patience.
No.
Yeah, they will do something. They expect things to be tomorrow. What's your thought on that one?
Yeah, definitely everything that Sharon said. I would also add, if you have a goal or a career path that you want to go into, find someone that's already successful in that. Make them your mentor. Study what they do, look at their work, volunteer with them, understand what it takes to be where they're at. So a lot of times we have a tendency as humans to want to be where people are at without understanding all the back work that it took, right? With that patience piece and the hard work piece, right? And so I would say find that person that you look up to, which again goes back to kind of like what everything you're saying. And the other piece I would say is don't let your past hold you back. Don't let where you're from hold you back. There is a saying that I read that it's not how you start, but how you finish what counts. And so don't let your own self-talk stop you. Don't let your own self-talk limit your dreams. Just, dream big and actually put a plan to it, right? And like Sharon said again, plans might not work. So have an A and a B and a C and a D, but have them all headed the same way. So
fantastic. That's and don't worry about tomorrow because nobody can tell you what happens tomorrow.
No.
One day at a time.
No. If somebody can tell you accurately, they will be millionaires. So
that's right.
that is the secret of God.
That's,
if you believe. So don't worry about tomorrow. So just live the day today and have that focus. Thank you very much for both of you for coming today, and we hope to see you soon.
Yeah.
Both of you do a great job for the community. I have known you, Sharon, a very long time, and you are very passionate for what you do. Most of the newcomers I have seen, they admire you for your style and all that stuff, and what you have helped them through the school. And we hope you will continue the same. Same thing with some of the local people that have praised you that I have met. So we hope you will also get a promotion soon.
Well, thanks.
Stay tuned.
So we'll see your next chapter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And thank you very much, Rodas. I think you are a very invaluable addition to the community.
Thank you.
Even though you are new to Brooks, but you have a wealth experience and education, and that you can make a difference, and you have done it that short period that you were here. And we hope the next kid will probably arrive soon, safe and healthy.
Yeah, thank you.
We hope you and the family to be prosperous and stay for a very long time.
Yeah, for sure.
When Mohammed becomes the mayor, then you become the head of that.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. So you become the manager of the B-side. So, yeah. But there are many of people running for the mayorship. John
I know.
run.
I love them all.
Yeah.
Go Mohammed, go.
Yeah, I always say, you know what, be careful, because we'll see the right person, or
That's right.
somebody who's a community-minded, who makes difference,
Yeah.
who is not me, I, myself, but somebody who is a community-minded, who does something for the betterment of the community. That person will have my vote.
Yes.
Somebody who is me, I, myself, we don't buy to that notion.
No, Ahmed.
Even that's my brother, I won't give my vote. Even that's my family member. No, you have to be community-minded in order to make the difference of the community. If it's me, I, myself, it's not going to go for for betterment of a society.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, not even betterment of your family, because you're obsessed to yourself.
Yeah,
That's my 2 cents of the day.
Okay,
very
thank you so much.
Thank you very much,
Great.
and thank you very much for coming, and cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you very much again for joining us today, and we hope to see you soon in the studio. This is the end of the show today, and thank you very much for joining us. Please be safe, and always remember one thing: keep hope alive. And there is always a better of tomorrow. So be positive in life. Everything will be okay. Until then, this is Ahmed Kassim, seat of Brooks, the seat of 100 Hollows, and the beautiful county of Newell County. If you ever think that coming to the south, please come and visit us. Thank you. God bless you all.